How is everybody doing today? Let's go. Fucking craziness, man. Craziness going on here. I'm gonna let some people jump in. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone's. It's just a crazy world out there. But if you're in AMC, you're feeling good right now. Again, we're still on pace. So I'm gonna let some people jump in here quick. We're gonna talk about this shooting because I'm just gonna talk about the shooting. I'm not gonna get into politics hardcore. I'm not gonna get into oh my god, I don't want this to become a Biden Trump debate crap. But there's a lot of things going on in the shooting that I just want to point out that are insanely weird. And it's okay, something's clearly going on here that's not being told to us all. So we're just gonna look into the shooting itself, things like that. But let's go. I guess I waited long enough, 2 minutes. If they're not here, they're not here. So hope everyone's having a good day. But let's get into AMC first. So I want to get into the box office. Let's get into the box office numbers here real quick. So right now we're at 494 million, almost at 500 million here. And if you actually look at the top here, you go to daily. Let's see here. Last week, if you look at, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you got about 100 mil, or about 81 million there, 82 million there. So you got Twister coming out though this week as well. So if you look at the numbers here at Twister on Wednesday, go back to your quarterly. I'm guessing that by the time next weekend starts, we're going to be at about 6.25 million, right around there. So we're on pace right now. Definitely to get to where we need to be after this weekend with Twister. I expect us to be at about 800 million the weekend after that. You got throughout the week, you get to about 880. Then by the time we get to Deadpool, they said that could do 165. So we're still on pace to get around 1.1 billion to 1.2 billion. Easily in that area, so we're definitely on pace still for this quarter. If everything keeps going the way we want, the way it's looking, we're still at a 2.7, 2.8 billion box office. So again, I'm expecting AMC to be pretty profitable this quarter. Everything's looking great for us as a company and as stock. And like I kept telling everybody, these children's movies are the best things because that merchandise sales, man. Those merchandise sales, that candy, all that. So I expect it because a lot of people are comparing it, also to the 2.6 when we had, the prior year. And it's well, we also have a lot more merchandise sales at that point. You got to add a little bit more here we've obviously got rid of cash burn. We've renegotiated rent. We've closed down theaters that were underperforming during that time. You also have to expect, the popcorn, the way he was talking about it, well, hopefully by, a year down the road, that also went up more. So it should be a little bit more profitable than we had that the last time. Then we were at 2.6 here. So I'm expecting, like I said, pretty good quarter here for AMC. Nothing but good things looking here at the box office. Now, one of the things that they're going to do also for Deadpool that they announced today is they're going to put out a little preview on Disney Plus. It's going to be 5 minutes. It's not going to be the movie or anything crazy. They always seem to do things like this just to try to get people, more into it. So if you have Disney Plus, they haven't released the date yet, but you're going to get a little preview, maybe 5-minute preview or something like that. They haven't announced all of the exact information on it yet, but again, it's not going to be the entire movie. Another thing that was announced today for AMC that is good for us going forward, you just saw these Pixar movies kill it. They announced that they're going to have a brand new original Pixar film, and it's going to come out in 2026. So again, when we're talking about AMC, the future of the company, the future of the box office, we already talked about 2026. It could easily hit 12 billion. Well, now you're going to add another brand new Pixar movie. Again, 2026 is going to be insane for AMC, and I know people are oh man, we don't want to wait. Again, profits should be all of 2025 as well. I'm not saying we need to wait for 2026, but I'm showing you the recovery of the company, the recovery of the box office, everything that the AMC was actually missing for a company fundamentally. It's all coming back. And once again, when you're in a depression, you're in a recession, and during hard times, the one thing people still do, the one area that still thrives, is the box office. Because again, people need an escape to get away from reality, get away from all this garbage, get away from the hardship that we're dealing with right now in politics and life and inflation and everyday cost is just unbelievable right now. So the box office, I feel everything for AMC again is still looking up, 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 and it's just getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Now, another thing, well, one of the things I want to show everybody, 3 of the top 5 highest grossing films of 2024 are animated, and I've been telling everybody not to sleep on these kids movies. They will make the most money. So again, you have a whole bunch of these, and that's why I'm saying also towards the end of this year, don't sleep on that Wild Robot movie. I think that will actually outperform way more expectations than it has. So again, don't sleep on these children's movies, and that's what I'm saying. 2026 should be unbelievable. Meanwhile, across the board, you have streaming services merging. You also have streaming services raise prices. I just saw my Netflix bill. I'm just going to be done with that at this point. It's the same things I've seen 1,000 times now at this point. It's like $25 a month. When you sit there and you add all of these platforms together now, and they're going to keep raising prices. And speaking of raising prices, Paramount just announced they're going to be raising prices as well. So you have Paramount raising prices again. Again, streaming is becoming cable. The thing that you wanted to get away from. The thing that, by the time you have all of them, get your internet, you're paying the same amount as you would just with your internet provider. So again, people thought that, these streaming services was going to come in and just destroy the movie theater industry. You're completely wrong. And on top of that, like I said, with this Pixar announcement, they're going to keep coming out because of that strike. They're going to need more content, keep coming out. So again, 2026 could be 13, 14 billion. You never know, because again, I already showed you the list that is coming out, and it's unbelievable. It's going to break pre-pandemic numbers. And they're still not done announcing movies yet. That's the thing about it. They haven't even stopped announcing movies yet. It's just the movie slate for that 2026 year is that unbelievable. So, again, guys, we're now becoming a recovery play. The reason you shorted the stock in the first place is the fundamentals are dead. Well, the fundamentals are dying. The business is losing money, and we've been screaming that and shouting that from the rooftop. We got to get rid of this cash burn. We got to get rid of this. We got to get help with the debt. We got to lower all of this, get revenue, get positive. This way we stop dilution. We stop giving the shorts ways out. It's all coming together. Like I said, this is everything we need. I know it's been a long-ass ride, but now you're recovering fundamentally. The next thing I expect, again, is AMC to restructure debt in the next month. We'll wait until August when numbers are just flying up, flying up, flying up. So, again, nothing but great things for AMC going forward, and fundamentally everything. Short-wise, squeeze play-wise, everything. I'm feeling very good about that play. So let's get into the shooting. You can't not talk about a presidential assassination attempt or a presidential to be elect or whatever you want to call them. I'm not saying this is not a pro-Trump. This is not anything. I'm not going to get into politics hardcore. I'm going to talk about the specific shooting, the events around it, all the sketchiness, just the weirdness, all this stuff that makes zero sense. It makes no sense how this happened. There's so much stuff that's like, what in the hell is going on? So I just want to go ahead and just talk about this a little bit. So when you look at the overhead view here, okay, and you read the reports, you read the articles, you read the things, that the FBI came out with, the police, all this stuff, you find out that the FBI actually talked about this area before everything was set up. They told us that this was a dead area, blah, 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 and the snipers and all these things were able to see everywhere else, and this was a sloped, slanted rooftop and all this stuff. Well, here's my thing. If I'm the FBI and I'm looking at this area, okay, and I have my snipers up here, all of this, and the rallies here and all this is all pretty fucking open, okay? This is all open. You can put a couple guys here, your security over there, but if you know that this is your major area of concern, where should all your security be? Right up here. Duh. Very simple. It's not like there's all these buildings for a shooter to choose from. It's not like there's a building here, 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 here. No, it's pretty much this one right here. And look how fucking close it is. It's like the closest, biggest building towards him. It's plainly obvious to say, okay, that's where we should have all of our guys. Is that just me? Or, I mean, I'm not Secret Service, material here, I guess, but to me, that's just common sense. This is my dark area. This is where they should be. And guess what else? This is where all the tree lines are. This is where your trees are. This is all open field. So again, I would have more security in the tree lines and on the only building that you could fucking shoot him from. Right? Right? Am I being retarded here? Like, this doesn't make sense to me that this was allowed to happen. Now, I'm going to show you some footage to make this even weirder. So again, they knew this was an area of concern. They knew it before, and they talked about it before. And again, why wasn't that area of concern the most guarded area then? Now, the next thing here, I've been in construction. This isn't a ladder. I've been in construction for a long time. I've been on a lot of roofs. I've been a general contractor. This is not a fucking ladder that is attached to a building. They don't look like this. They don't get wider at the base. They're not fucking like this to where anybody can access them. They're going to be up a little bit. They're going to be some type of thing where the public can't just at any time walk right on up and go right behind you and just walk straight up here. This is like a painter's ladder. So some dude had to have put this ladder there. If you look on Google Maps, it might be a 3-month-old picture, but there's still no ladder there. There's no permanent ladder there. That looks nothing like a permanent ladder either. So people that are like, well, Google Maps, it might be a 3-month-old picture. Who cares? So you're telling me in the last 3 months he just happened to put this ladder in there and it happens to look like that? That doesn't look anything like a permanent ladder. So again, some guy walks up to this, puts a fucking ladder up. This kid's very young. There's nothing saying that this kid's a very intelligent person. If you saw the story, he got kicked out of the sniper school or whatever class. He tried to go into the shooting class and they kicked him out. He wasn't very good. So again, you don't have this expert guy here that's like trained for all of this. So this is what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm just, here's my conspiracy. Here's my problem here's my problem with everything. So again, you have a ladder, somebody came walking up, popped down. Next thing you notice, this dude had to go back to his car, whatever he did, grabbed his gun, walked up here and went on over. Well, okay. If you watch this video, I'm going to watch this for just a quick second here. There's people in the audience before this guy even gets in place. There's people in the audience screaming about this guy, okay? Right here, if you look in the video, this is the other side where I showed you the ladder was, okay? So if you look right there, that's what you're looking at right there, okay? It's right there. So this fucking guy puts this ladder up, comes up here, goes up here, and he's laying down right here. Meanwhile, everybody's screaming about this, okay? Now watch this.
There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Instead, I'm here with you fighting cartel to get a senator.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the money.
So people are calling this guy out. Now, the first thing I want you to see is in the very beginning of this video, okay? There's police officers around this building, and there are people screaming. He's right there. He's got a gun. Okay, now watch the very start of this.
If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful places towards the ocean, the Mediterranean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof.
If you look right now in the dead center of the screen, you'll notice that there's a police officer right here. There's a police officer right here. There's a police officer right here. And so you have 3 police officers plus surrounding this building. Okay? They're all on the other side of it, apparently, even though everybody and their mom has been pointing at the back side of the building. Now, if you look, the shooter is right here. He's laying down right there. Okay? Everyone's saying he's over on this side. So why the fuck are the cops walking around to the other side of the building where nobody's telling them? They're all going over there. When they're pointing specifically, he's on the back side of the building. He's right fucking there. And they're all walking around to the front. Now, there's a report that came out, and it gets even weirder, because it's like, okay, well, if this happened, what the fuck? So then there's a report coming out that a police officer went up the ladder, and apparently the shooter pointed his rifle at the cop. He apparently went down the ladder, and that's when he turned and quickly shot at Trump. Okay, so this just seems super fucking sketchy to me. Because, okay, if you watch this video, and another reason why I wanted to show this video, when they zoom in on this guy, he is army crawling up this building. He comes down and he's laying down flat on his stomach. Like, he already knows that they could potentially see him. And then he crawls up. Like, dude, there's no way this guy knew all this. Like, there's no fucking way this kid knew how to do all this stuff. Now watch, right here, watch him. I'm going to show you right here. We're going to open this up. Now watch how he crawls. This is something that somebody had to teach you. This is like military type shit. Because he knows, I watched a video from a sniper, and he talked about this way that this roof is slanted, how once you can't see over the top of the roof, it's like a dead slant. It's a dead area. So the sniper, they shoot for mid-mass is what these snipers always aim for. And if it happens to hit in the face, that's sweet. But you hit center mass. You aim center mass. Well, the way that this guy is going up the side of this building, he's always under the top of the building. So it's like he knows the snipers are watching. Now watch how he crawls. Now who moves like this? So he's laying flat right now. Here's his head, because I know it's a blurry image. Here's his feet. Here's his head, and here's his arms, and here's his like shoulders right here. Okay, now watch how he crawls up this building.
We have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. It's much tougher than it.
You see how this fucking dude is slowly, like, he's on his belly. He's belly crawling. He's belly sliding. He's always making sure to stay out of the top, under the top of that shot until he's ready to take his shot. Because that's out of the line of the sniper's view. Now, a lot of people, now this guy here said, you know, we'll get to this guy here in a second, but a lot of people point out to this video here with the snipers, and it's pretty interesting because when I listened to that sniper, who an ex-military man, talk about it, he talked about how the angle of the roof, because a lot of people are sitting there saying he's staring, this sniper right now, he's staring at this suspect, and then a lot of people go, well, why didn't he shoot before? Now, one of the reasons for this ex-sniper's explanation was because of how that guy was crawling, was because he was staying under the top of the roof until he was able to, you know, get up, and he was able to aim quick, and then he instantly fired. And then when he instantly fired, that's when his head peeked over the thing, peeked over the field of vision of the roof. And then he already unloaded, and that's how he already knew where he was. So he already had that scope there. Boom. It was an instant headshot, like instantly gone. But to me, it is very interesting when you watch the shot, because it's like, listen to the difference between how fast this shooter shoots and how fast this sniper. It's like nanoseconds. So it's like, that explanation to me is kind of weird too, because, I mean, you could have a spotter and these guys telling him where he is, but that means you don't know exactly what part of the roof his head's going to pop up, but it's instantly like he does. So it's, just watch this quick. It's really interesting.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I mean, look at how fast that was, and watch his reaction as he unscopes out and shoots. Like, it's like, what? I mean, And then the other explanation that I heard on why this guy did not fire, like I said, I'm just telling you everything I've heard and showing you what I see in the video. And like I said, we're just piecing this together. This is not pro anything. This is me just looking at the situation. Like, how did Secret Service allow this? How was this child able to outsmart the Secret Service? How did he know how to crawl? Well, then it gets even more interesting, okay? So then it gets real weirder. We're going to go back into the other interviews and some other things here quick as well, because there's still a ton more to this story. But then this comes out today. BlackRock yanks 2022 ad that featured Trump shooter. So this kid was in a BlackRock ad. Crawling's basic, yeah, but the stomach crawl and just to make sure that you're... Here's my point. Here's what you say, it's basic, but it's not that basic, because what you got to look at. Okay, here's my point to you. I'm going to show you how wrong you are right now. First of all, I've been on tons of roofs. This is a steel roof, and it gets hot as fuck. Those things get hot as fuck, dude. It might be painted white, but trust me, that thing's hotter than shit. You are not sitting down on that type of roof, laying down and army crawling. Eventually, a normal person like this child is going to lay down. His stomach's going to hit that heat, and he's going to go, holy fuck. And his hands are going to hit it. It's going to be hot as shit, dude. That's going to be hot. And then he's going to get up, and he's going to have his head ducked, and he's going to more than likely go down and then get into position because of the heat on top of that fucking steel roof. He's not going to fucking take the whole thing, army crawl all the way down, unless he knows, dude, those snipers are looking right at you potentially. Dude, you're about to get shot, and if your head goes over that. And now he's having that, like I said, maybe you're right. Maybe that's just, maybe this guy has more knowledge than I have, basic training, I guess, because this just seems to me like I said, if you watch the way that he does all of this crawling, the way he's moving up and down, and on top of that, he got kicked out of the high school class because the kid couldn't aim. And all of a sudden, he's fucking millimeters from the fucking president's head. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But like I said, this entire scenario is just insanely weird. The fact he has ties with BlackRock. And now on top of it, you have the FBI. So the FBI is unable to crack this guy's phone. So if it's a fingerprint, well, guess what? They can get a fingerprint. They have the body. If it's an eye thing, they can get the eye scan. If it's a password, well, guess what? You can literally call, if he's on AT&T, you can call AT&T and they can go ahead and send you a reset thing. They can get into it. You can call the manufacturer of the phone themselves. They can get you into the cell phone. The FBI can get into anybody's phone, but they're unable to get into this child's phone. This kid who has no ties. Now, the other thing that's weird is he has no Facebook, no anything, no social media. So this kid is a loner that has no ties to anybody, but he knows how to make his phone hack-proof for the government. FBI sent it over to the labs. They still can't get in. Meanwhile, hackers just in nearly, this was 3 days ago, just in nearly all of AT&T's over 110 million customers' calls and text messages are exposed in a hack. So hackers can get into all this stuff if they needed to, but God forbid the FBI gets into it. Basically, what do you call it? I mean, this is like a terroristic act. I mean, domestic terroristic act. He tried to shoot a guy who was potentially nominated for president. I mean, what else do you classify that as? So, I mean, like I said to me, this is all, you're like, okay, so it's just some innocent kid that was acting out in self-defense. He knew exactly where to go. He knew exactly how to get up the thing. It just seems very suspect. He has ties to fucking BlackRock. We suddenly can't get into his phone. Well, on top of that, you have the interview with this guy, and this guy's sitting there talking for a while on how, you know, people were screaming at him for a while. They're talking about this. We'll listen to him for a minute here.
Probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know. But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him.
And that's the thing, like, that's in all the shit I showed you. Like, even right here, you see them walking around, and like I told you, everyone's screaming, he's in the back of the building. But yet you see them all walking to the front of the building. What are you doing? They're all walking around, like he said, they're all walking around like, huh, what? How can the whole crowd see him, but not one single police officer figure this out? Not a single police officer could figure this out, but the whole crowd could. So I'm sitting there like, okay. So again, you have one guy apparently acted out by himself, drove up to the one location, went to the one spot, and that guy that said crawling is just, you know, whatever. He bear crawled. He fucking bear crawled. He did a different type of crawl, dude. He did a crawl. He was slant crawling. He wasn't just fucking crawling. He was like slant crawling on his stomach. Like he said, it was a fucking bear crawl, dude. Like, you don't just naturally do that. This dude knew what he was doing. But this kid's supposed to be some innocent kid that, oh, he's just a loner. He just got abused in school and just decided to act out, and he outsmarted Secret Service and everybody else. Again, common sense. The only building that could get him is right there. It should have been the only building. Again, if you look here, the kid parked right... here's my question to you. I showed you the ladder. Okay, here's the ladder and here's the parking lot. So if you look at the overhead view, it would be right here. Okay, this is where he shot him. This would be right here. This is where he went up on the ladder. Okay, so he parked. This is my point. The ladder wasn't there. So what did he do? Come right in here in the parking lot with one of those, like a construction truck, take the ladder off the top, go put it over here, climb on top, go right here, walk all the way across over to there. And you're telling me not one single person was in this parking lot? Isn't this parking lot kind of a spot you should be watching? It's the only parking lot there. How wasn't this thing completely full of people, full of cars? I'm assuming everybody that was at this rally probably parked right here. Evan Francis, thank you. I appreciate that, man. COD later trying to quick scope. Man, if I had Call of Duty, I don't play Call of Duty. The one game I do play for a shooter is Rainbow Six Siege, dude. That game is so badass. You can blow out every single wall. People have abilities. You got like, you get to throw in drones and stuff, dude. Rainbow Six Siege is pretty badass if you're looking for a good shooter video game. But like you said, it's the only one with the tree line. It's the only one with the parking lot, and nobody was sitting in this fucking parking lot. You're telling me there wasn't like security right here? You're telling me when people came in and parked, there was no people right here? There was no police officers at the only fucking building that had access to shoot at him? Dude, yeah, Evan, that game is... Trust me, guys, if you're listening and you want to try a new shooter type video game, Rainbow Six Siege is the way to go. Secret Service is completely incompetent or intentionally failed. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something where it's like, okay, do we all overestimate the Secret Service's training? Because, again, this just seems common sense to me. The only parking lot with the only building that had access to shoot at him, nobody was there. He did not climb up a permanent ladder that is clearly a ladder that you would bring for construction. If you look, it stops right there. It doesn't even reach the top. If you were going to make a permanent ladder to a building, they reach the top. There's always a top rung that's at the very top. It doesn't go there. You can clearly see this ladder is not attached. It's leaned up against it. And it stops right there. It doesn't stop at the top. So this isn't a permanent fucking ladder. This is a ladder he physically brought to the scene. Well, if you, once again, look at the landscape, he had to have gone by somebody here in Secret Service, or they had nobody guarding the only parking lot. And to me, that is just unbelievable. That is unbelievable to me, that you have that many cops, that many Secret Service, and nobody watched the only parking lot. And not only that, you have people screaming where he is exactly, and cops walking around, looking around like, what are they talking about? See, that's the thing. This is the thing that sucks for these guys nowadays. You have cell phones everywhere. You have cell phones at different angles everywhere. You have different points of views of videos that now match up with reports from reporters. You now listen to this guy and you realize anybody that thought this dude was lying, if you watch this video, you see right in front of your eyes. The police officers were told they're in the back, and they all walked to the other side. 1, 2, 3, and they all stared at a roof that is empty and go, I don't see him. Well, of course, you're going to the one spot they're saying not to go. This is just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. So, do what you guys want to do with that. But again, the fact that he's in a BlackRock fucking video just makes me feel like, okay. I mean, I'm not trying to throw conspiracies around, but coincidental, like, how many people are in fucking BlackRock videos? We're going to get more information. Watch. This dude, like, probably interned at, like, a BlackRock or something. Like, watch. We'll see here. But like I said, explain to me how they can get into anyone's phone they want, but suddenly now they can't get into this fucking guy's phone. It's the most uncrackable cell phone. I'll tell you what. If you want to get into this guy's cell phone in 10 seconds, put something online where they can access this phone and say, any hacker out there that can open this phone for me real quick, we'll pay you X amount. I bet it'll be broken into in half a second. But apparently the FBI can't fucking do it. Okay, here we go. Here it is. So the people the agents in Pennsylvania, they were unable to break into the phone. It's been shipped to the FBI's lab in Quantico. The FBI hopes to get past. They hope to get past the phone's password protection. They can't get past the password protection. It's too fucking complicated. We can get past everyone else's, but this dude's like, apparently somehow unbelievably encrypted. But he's acting on his own. He knew to bear crawl. He knew where to go. He brought a ladder. He had all day in the world to set himself up. What is going on here? Because we're missing something. Meanwhile, like I said, there's a reason I also bring this up. And I want everyone listening to listen, because this is the problem. This is not a pro-Trump. This is not a pro-Biden. Because I'm going to explain this in terms that I used to explain it in A Bug's Life. We're going to explain this into a Bug's Life type thing. The problem with this scenario is this is what happens all the time in the United States. It gets bad, it gets bad, it gets bad. And then all of a sudden we all look for a president to come in and fix it. We all look for a president who ends up being one of the grasshoppers. Now I always talk about the ants and the grasshoppers, the 1%, how they're owned, the politicians, how they're all owned, and they're all the same. And I sit there and I'll tell you guys, a lot of people sit there and go, well, Trump's this and that. And it's like, I used to think I was always leaning more towards Trump. Like I said, I don't even think I'm going to vote at this point for this one. I just don't think either one of them is going to be able to be the savior, do what we need them to do. They're all, if these guys could if they were like NASCAR drivers and put patches on people who paid them off, they couldn't put enough clothes on. And the reason I'm saying all this is if you look at this article, this talks about one of the people that attended the rally, one of the people that was at the shooting. And it talks about how he's one of Trump's biggest supporters, one of the biggest hedge funds out there, the CEO of the biggest hedge funds. He's donating, because like I said, guys, they all donate. bribe everyone. They all bribe each politician, red or blue. They're already paid for. They don't care about your $100,000, $200,000 government salary because they get bribed by 97 more companies, more than that by each one of them. And as long as we now found out, as long as they now pass the laws before, then they can pay them and it's no longer a bribe. And we're now, our government is officially able to be bought in full and have zero consequences as long as they do the act first. So again, it comes down to here and it starts talking about, this guy who was, this hedge fund owner who was reporting at how much money he's put into their campaign. Well, there's another thing that I haven't heard about yet. We're going to get into that in a second. It's a PAC. It's a super PAC, and this is another problem right here. So we're going to get into that in a second. But I just want to read this too because I have talked about this before with all of you guys, and one of the reasons why these guys pay these billionaires, they pay these fucking politicians so much money. One of the main rule that they want to do, which is one of the things that I wish Trump would say, all right, I'm going to take away, but Trump is not going to do anything about it, and he's going to leave this. And it's called the carried interest loophole. And I've talked about this with you guys forever. It's a tax loophole for billionaires. So what these guys have done is they've created a super PAC, okay? And the sole purpose of this super PAC, the only purpose of this super PAC is to make sure that they will always have politicians, the majority of certain politicians, Democrats, Republicans, doesn't fucking matter. They will have their guys in place to always make sure that they win the votes for the carried interest loophole. That is what the super PAC is known for. There are literally super PACs out there to put congressmen in place, senators in place that will pass everything to continuously allow them to get this carried interest loophole. This carried interest loophole allows billionaires to pay lower taxes than teachers and plumbers. And I have talked about this for a long time. What the fuck just happened? Here we go. Sorry, I don't know where the hell that carried me. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked on the link on the carried interest. So these guys are literally paying these super PACs. Paying these fucking super PACs. The super PAC is called Keystone Renewal PAC. I'm going to go ahead and put this in chat. The Keystone Renewal PAC is solely there to make sure politicians are in place to never vote against the billionaires' carried interest loophole. And they will always keep pushing it off because it saves them hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year while they pay less taxes than teachers. They're able to pay lower taxes than teachers, plumbers. The carried interest loophole has been under attack by progressive Democrats for years. This has been, if you have watched the show Billions, they literally talk about this on the show Billions. That is where I first discovered the carried interest loophole. One of the things that they talk about, they're trying to talk to a politician, and one of the main things that she said is, I'm going to go after the carried interest loophole. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not the politician, it's the main prosecutor guy, the guy that's married to Wendy, I can't remember, Chuck Rhodes. Chuck Rhodes says he's going to go after the carried interest loophole. And one of the things that ends up happening is, of course, they blackmail him to back down from going out of the carried interest loophole and backing away from it. So again, the carried interest loophole has always been a thing between politicians and billionaires for more bribes, for more payoffs, for more gifts, so they don't go ahead and vote against them. Now, one of the things this also talks about is Ken Griffin. This talks about how, everybody, like I said, if you think that Ken Griffin, and Trump aren't going to end up being buddies, here's my point, and this is why I fucking hate these guys. You had Elon Musk talk about freedom of speech, how he hates all these fucking corrupt people, and the next thing you notice, he takes money from Ken Griffin, they're pals, he's now censoring Twitter. It's the same shit that happened, because guess what? He takes money from the guys, and now he's their bitch. And it's just fucking pathetic how little these guys take to be bought off. And now, I'm not saying Trump took money from him. I'm not saying that he's gonna take money from him. But my point to show you is they had a meeting with him to try to get money from him. And that's my point. They'll talk shit about these guys, then they'll go over and be like, hey, you want to fucking pay me off? You want to, you want to fucking, donate to my campaign, do this, blah, blah, blah. We'll meet on the golf course, and also we can be pals, and blah, blah, blah. And then you'll turn. And that's why it's like, that's what I'm saying. It sucks because we as ants continuously look up to grasshoppers to save the ants and pick the ants over the grasshoppers, which they're actually the species of themselves. They think that they're above us. They think that we're different. We're nothing to them but votes, and we're nothing to them but that's it. We're just votes. That's all we are. Like these guys, like Jamie Dimon, these guys funneling these fucking sex islands with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. They don't look at us as humans. They look down upon us. We're less than them. And that's exactly how they feel. They're pieces of shit. But yet, they're the ones that continuously need our money from bailouts. None of them would even have a job if it wasn't for the taxpayers bailing out criminals that fucking bet more money and steal and have hundreds of billions of dollars in fines from crimes that they commit. You said it's like they're all one in the same. Yes, I think if I'm going to be honest, like I said, if I'm going to be honest, I don't know which president would be better. I think Trump would be better, to be honest, a little bit, because, I mean, I don't even know if Joe Biden knows where the fuck he is. I'm dead serious. I don't even know what's going on with Biden. I don't even know what the hell's happening. People can sit there and tell me he's fucking coherent and this and that. Well, is he? Is he going to be coherent for 4 more fucking years? But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I'm choosing... I don't have great choices in my eyes. There are all these people that are mass pro-Trump, and that's fine. If you believe that, whatever. That's. I'm not going to sit here and sway people into politics because I don't care. They're all fucking corrupt as shit, as I'm showing you right now. Now look at this, because this is why I brought this up. This is why I brought this up with the Keystone and Ken Griffin and the banks. Now, everybody sits there and talks about Griffin doesn't donate to Trump. Griffin doesn't donate to these politicians. Yes, he does. He just doesn't do it directly. He does it through what is called the Keystone Renewal. If you want to know where Ken Griffin is, who is on he's paying off, you look at the Keystone Renewal. Listen to this first sentence. The largest donator of all people to Keystone Renewal by a wide margin. So a large margin. The biggest donator to this is Ken Griffin. Why? Because Ken Griffin doesn't want to pay taxes on his billions of dollars. He wants to pay less than teachers. So Ken Griffin pays all of this fucking money to a super PAC called Keystone Renewal. That Keystone Renewal now puts politicians in place that will make sure Ken Griffin always gets his fucking carried interest loophole act in. And he will always pay less government or taxes than you guys and teachers. This is how they do it. This is how he does it. So again, Ken Griffin, the largest donor to Keystone Renewal by a large margin, is hedge fund titan Ken Griffin. According to records from the Federal Elect Commission, Griffin wrote out a check for $10 million just at the end of last year. Ken Griffin is riding high after posting the most profitable year of any hedge fund in history. Now watch this. He's worth an estimated $35 billion, $7.8 million. So he's making billions and billions, and he's not paying a penny. He's barely paying any penny on taxes. And then he sits there and gets most of his money through fucking vested shares and shit. So all of a sudden, guess what? Oh, I don't have to pay taxes on those either. Now, this is why I want you guys to look at this also, because it comes down and says, for how Griffin is making his billions, scroll on this link. Click to this link. So if you click on this link, it brings you to another tab. You can click on the top link on that tab, which will bring you to this. This talks about payment for order flow, the Ponzi scheme. This talks about market making. This talks about the exchanges. This talks about how they used to be nonprofit. Let's get into this a little bit here. So what this talks about is how you have Citadel and you have Virtue, who act as basically exchanges, but they're not registered. They're not registered exchanges. Without registering as stock exchanges, Citadel and Virtue account for more stock trading than the New York Stock Exchange. They do more trading than any exchange, as we know, but they don't have to register as exchanges. How fucking fucked up is that? We have market makers that do more trading than all exchanges, but they don't have to register as an exchange, because then they would have to follow rules. And then if they had to register as exchanges, guess what? Payment for order flow wouldn't work, and it would be abolished. So how do you fix fucking market making? Well, if there's going to be market makers out there, you make them fucking exchanges. That's it. You now need to follow the exchange guidelines, all these rules, and you're now fucking exchanges, and you're now transparent. Because anytime anyone now orders through you, it needs to hit the tape, it needs to be fucking transparent, and it actually needs to affect the NBBO. How do you fix Ken Griffin and Virtue's monopoly of the stock market? You make them register as exchanges, because that's what they are. But for some reason, because they pay off the right people, they don't need to do that. Now, on top of that, it comes down here because it talks about... Where is it? 1 second here. Oh, the exchanges and all this other stuff. So it comes down here, it talks about how there's 24 stock exchanges, okay? So you have market making, which is dominated, which there's supposed to be no monopolies out there. There's not supposed to be monopoly, but Ken Griffin has a market making monopoly, and so does Virtue Finance. They're the only market makers. They have market making monopolies. So that alone should make them fucking illegal. There are 24 stock exchanges in the US that are registered with the SEC. But all three of those exchanges are owned by 3 people. So in other words, you have 3 people who own 24 stock exchanges. You have Ken Griffin and you have Dougie Fresh over there and Vincent Viola, who rapes Virtue and steals from iron workers, and we don't need to keep getting into the criminality going on at Virtue Finance. Now, so you basically have 5 people that own everything. Every exchange, every non-exchange, it's all them. They own it all, and on top of that, you got ICE, who owns the fucking trading options, all the good stuff. So basically you have 3 main entities that own everything. And if you don't go to those 3 main entities that own everything, then you go to Ken Griffin or you go to Virtue. So you basically have 5 people that control the stock market. Everybody wants to know who's in charge. It's those 5 people right there. And they own everything. Now, what ended up changing when they ended up owning that monopoly? Well, suddenly they owned that monopoly. They owned everything. So what did they do? First thing they do. They weren't profits before. Well, all of them suddenly switched over to, all of which were now for-profit. They're all now for-profit companies. So they used to not be profit. Now they're for-profit companies. On top of that, they're publicly traded companies rather than non-profit. So now they have to steal, do this, make money, because they have shareholders they have to fucking pay off. They have shareholders that they have to make value. They have dividends and all this other crap that they're going to have to give out. So, again, prior to this model, prior to them becoming profits, prior to payment for order flow and all this bullshit, that was when the United States actually built a reputation for running the most respected stock trading structure in the world. Well, that all went out the window. Corruption, payment, and buying everyone. So again, you have 5 people and investors, and then the investors who invest in them. Well, people who invest in these exchanges, well, guess who invests in the exchanges? Citadel and Virtue. And 5 count fell in JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, UBS, Goldman Sachs. In other words, all the fucking criminals that are doing the crimes actually are the ones who invest into the exchanges as well. So, you have all these fucking criminals that no matter what exchange, it ends up technically getting into them. The other fucking investors are, guess who? TD Ameritrade, Bank of America, BlackRock, Jane Street, Wells Fargo, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. And guess what? You got dark pools that are owned by JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, UBS, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. So you have dark pools on dark pools. So they take away from the exchanges. They take away from transparency. You have market making. They take away from transparency. You have the OCC market. You have fucking ISDA trading. You have master agreements. All again taking away from market making transparency. You have family offices. Once again taking away from market transparency. And the list goes on and on and on. But again, if you want to read into this article, this talks about how these five own everything. This breaks into, this is the main problem in the stock exchange. And like I always tell you guys, the number one source, one of the number one sources that I go on that is considered mainstream media, is the only one that I go on is Wall Street on Parade. Wall Street on Parade truly exposes corruption, truly exposes crime. And I believe 100% they are not paid off. They're one of the only people that I don't believe because they tell on everyone. So again, it sucks that, again, we have to vote in these fucking grasshoppers. But again, I don't know. This whole shooting just seemed very fucking weird to me. I just wanted to show everybody the facts, show everybody the videos, give my opinion on it. Because again, I'm not saying that, who knows. But I mean, it was just very, very strange thing to see. So, and people, there is a video also. So for the people that still think it's staged, there is a video. I just didn't want to show it because, again, I have respect for the family as well. But there is a video out there, if you think it's staged, where they do show the section where the man was shot in the head. And if it's staged, you have 100 fucking people in that audience all pointing with like, this guy's dying out. And then all the I mean, it's out there. I just don't want to show it. I mean, if you really want to see it, go out there and look, grab it. It's all over Twitter. I'm just not gonna. So that's tragic. That tragedy for that family. That sucks. I mean, unbelievable. Well, it's like I said. Well, who knows if we'll ever know what really fucking happened? But this entire thing seems just insane to me. But let's get into more. So again, for AMC in the play. I told you guys to just sit tight, start waiting for these commercial real estate bombs to start happening. Well, guess what? They're starting to finally kick in. It talked about how these banks, I want to go ahead and post this one up here. They're starting to take some hits here. They're starting to finally feel the pain. Also, before I get into this one, if you guys look here, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo suffered $3.5 billion in losses as surge in bad debt. So again, these losses are coming in now. They're going to start smashing them. You have $929 billion that is due, and they've already talked about how 60, 70, 80% of it could be at a discount. Or I mean, all of it will be at a 60, 70, maybe 80% discount. So that could potentially be $650 to $700 billion in losses. Plus. So it talks about how these banks, and I wanted to show you guys this. So it talks about how these banks are, they're like I showed you before, they're trying to offset some risk here. They're throwing synthetic risk transfer around. They're trying to get out of billions, do anything that they can possibly do. Well, this talks about how there is, what was it? 1 second here. It's like 61 banks or whatever. Okay, so the 31 banks. So there's 31 banks that, they're talking about that are going to get hit with this. There's plenty more. But the largest 31 banks have about 650 billion in losses that they have set aside for. But the problem is after all of that's going to be absorbed, as I showed you, that will be 100% of their losses. The problem for these guys, again, you're still going to have more coming, but on top of that, you're going to have more people leaving the banks. You're going to have more running into money market funds in that, so they're going to lose more deposits, more collateral, so this will slowly go down and go down by the time this is hitting. This will wipe their entire reserves and then some. On top of that, the problem for these banks is next year, the commercial real estate is just as big. And next year, they don't have their extra $685 billion set aside. They have nothing. They'll have nothing set aside. And they're not going to have enough time to recover this amount of money. Because again, they're going to keep taking losses. More people are going to default. And their bad loan percentage is actually skyrocketing. If you look down here at the percentages, these things are jumping up by 5%. My phone. 1 second here. I apologize. I have to go in about 15, 20 minutes. I gotta go here pretty soon. I have to go to an appointment here. Let me keep going here for a second. So the percentages jumped up 5%, 410 million, and they're going to keep mounting and mounting. And these are just the write-offs on bad loans. Well, one of the things that was very interesting that I showed you guys the other day is, so if you come down here and look at this as well, it shows you guys that all of their write-offs are skyrocketing. Wells Fargo had a 70% increase. 70% increase. They took a loss of 1.3 billion compared to 700 last year. This is going to keep skyrocketing. This is, like I said, this commercial real estate bomb is going to suddenly jump up, and instead of it going to 1 billion, it's going to jump up to 7 to 8 to 10 billion. And then you're going to start seeing this fucking pain, and it's going to go harder and harder. Like I said, these guys have a ton of commercial real estate bombs coming right at them. It's going to be insane to see how they handle this. But one of the things that also they're going to have problems with is, if you look here, the number of hardships per withdrawal of 1,000 saves soared 40%. And if you read the last line here, it says the main reason people are raiding their retirement accounts is because they're about to lose their houses. Now, this is the other thing that I was telling you guys about. The problem for these banks also is you're going to have a commercial real estate bomb, but they're also going to have a real estate bomb on top of that. They're going to have a ton of people that are going to start to default on these loans. I already showed you guys the Airbnb difference, the Airbnb attendance from last year compared to this year. Airbnbs are going to start to collapse this year. This will be the year where inventory will fly up because you're going to have tons of people default, tons of Airbnbs go out. And I don't know if you guys just saw this, and I don't know how this is going to really work here, but if you guys look here, I just saw this on Twitter. Let me go to Wales quick. I think Wales posted it. I think he just posted it. He posts so much stuff, I don't see it. Well, it just said that here. Oh, fucking. It says that Biden's going to cap rent. So he's going to cap rent at 5%. He's proposing a 5% cap on rent nationwide. So again, you're going to have renters now that are going to have problems. If he's going to cap them out as well, like I said, you're going to have more real estate issues as well. But on top of that, the rates aren't going to lower. So as we've already seen over the last 3 months, the inventory is going up. The inventory is going up, but the price is still not moving, even though you have inventory rising. Because the problem is people can't afford to sell at a lower cost because of what they bought it at. They can't take that big of a loss. On top of that, you still have all of these institutions that bought the shit out of all of these houses, and they're not selling at a loss. So they're selling them still at the same prices, even higher than what they purchased them at. So the problem is you're going to keep seeing inventory going up, but you're going to see people just defaulting, and nobody's going to come in and buy these loans, is what I'm getting at. These banks aren't going to be able to just offshore them right away. If you go in my town, I've literally driven around and I've seen so many for sale signs. It's insane. It literally is mind blowing how many people are selling their house right now. They can't afford it, and this is where we're getting to. You have, again, I already showed you before, more people working 2 jobs now than ever in history. So it's like, I've sit there and showed you guys how many times they've lied about numbers and lied about this and lied about that. And like I said, it's just like people that think, here you go. Biden will announce plan to cap rents at 5% nationwide. So how are you going to cap renters, but and not cap corporations' profits percentage? How are you going to cap renters, but not cap hospitals? Medical shit that's beyond out of control. How come a hospital for a bag of saline solution and IV, how can he charge me a 17 million % markup? See, this is my problem. When it comes to fixing the nation, when it comes to fixing it, it's always just take from the ants instead of fix the problem. Instead of fixing, all right, well, we could help. What is the number one debt and expense in the United States for middle class and lower class? What is it? It's fucking healthcare. It's health. People are in fucking hundreds of thousands in debt on just cancer, on this, on all this shit where you're like, okay, you went to the hospital. Oh, it's $5,000 for a fucking bag of solution that costs them literally 4 cents to make. They fucking take a bag of water and put some saline in there and some fucking salt. Wow. Cost you 3 cents, but fuck. You know how hard it is for the nurse to put it on there and literally take under 1 second to put it in your vein? Do you know how much I have to pay them? Not enough to charge me 7,000 fucking % on the bag of fucking solution. But medical pays them. We don't. Renters don't pay them. If you're allowed to rent things out, if you're allowed to rent, that means you're taking away from their business now, which I already showed you. They're trying to get into the renters game. They don't want you to ever own. They want you to rent for the rest of your life. So now what they're going to do is kick out the fucking normal guys, but these renters at 5%, these corporations at 5%, they'll take it. They'll take it. So, again, fucking joke. Where is it looking at here? I gotta get going here soon. Meanwhile, while all of middle class is evaporating, the people who are in control of our money, I told you this last week, at the rate they're going, we're going to be at negative 182 billion. The Federal Reserve are operating currently at a negative $182 billion loss. By next week, we will be at negative 90. And in 2 weeks, the Federal Reserve will be operating at a negative $200 billion balance. That is fucked up. The people telling you in control of our money, creating this, the people that are in control of inflation are operating at almost a negative $200 billion loss currently. They're losing that much money. They owe all that to the Treasury. And guess what? This is how much money we're not getting put back into the Treasury for how long? How long is this going to take? At the rate they're going and the way that the economy is going in inflation, it's not going to get any better. So this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And again, this does not count the losses of the billions of dollars that the feds have not gotten paid back on the bank lending program. I already showed you they were at negative $36 billion that was owed to them by banks that can't pay it back. So again, the Federal Reserve's taking billions of billions of billions in losses that they're not even marking or showing. I already showed you how they transfer things on their balance sheet and move things around to make it look better for them than it even is. So again, the Federal Reserve cannot keep on bailing these fucking banks out. They can't keep doing this shit forever. You guys, this game, it can't go on forever. And for once, if you're an AMC, you're finally fundamentally sound. You're finally fundamentally recovering something you have never had throughout the entire fucking time we've been in this play. And it changes everything. I just want to go over a couple more things quick. It'll just be about 4 more minutes, then I gotta get going. My alarm went back off. I gotta get going to my appointment here. So Citigroup. So one of the things that I thought was hilarious is Citigroup made this giant announcement. Oh, we're gonna hire this bitch. She's gonna fix everything. We're good to go. No problem. So since this girl who was hired to fix the bank's corruption, since she's been there, Citigroup has now been fined more than $500 million for risk issues. Since she's been in the bank, and she hasn't been in there that long. It's been like 4 months. In 4 months, you've already gotten fined $500 million? Well, then if you look here, the reason I'm bringing this up is 4 days ago. So listen how fucking stupid this is. 4 days ago. So this girl took over. 4 years ago, they came to Citibank and said, you need to fix this. Your shit is out of date. It's imbalanced. It doesn't work right. You're hiding this. It's not right. You need to fix your risk control, and you need to fix all this stuff. She came over. Oh, I'll fix it. We'll be fine. They fined him $136 million 4 days ago because they said the bank hasn't made any fucking progress in fixing in their data management and risk controls and fixing it. So they hired this girl to fix it months ago, and she hasn't done a single fucking thing. They haven't even worked on it. They've had 4 years to fix their software, 4 years to fix their risk control, 4 years to do anything, and they didn't do a single thing, and they just pay a $136 million fine. This is the same risk control. This is the same shit that continuously collapsed and crashed during all this other shit. Great job, Citi. Now, the last thing I want to get into, because I don't know what the hell is going on here, but Bitcoin, gold, commodities, they're definitely the way to go to safeguard your money over banks. I mean, not financial advice, but it is. Like, it isn't financial advice, but it is the place, to safeguard your money. Silver, gold, like I said, physical though, because even crypto at this point, like, I believe that even Bitcoin is a pretty safer place now that you have government selling them off, because I believe now you're having more people and institutions buy those coins compared to government that are trying to create their own things. And like I said, so what happened is Germany sold its entire reserve of Bitcoin for $3 billion. Today, Larry Fink comes out, which is funny because he hated fucking Bitcoin and crypto, and it was the biggest thing, evil to the fucking world. But now that they have their hands in it, now that they have ETFs, now that they can do what they want with it a little more, today, Larry Fink comes out and says, I'm a major believer in Bitcoin, as he's worried about government's deficits. So he's suddenly saying what we've all been saying. I showed you guys last time. All governments in the world owe $91 trillion. Governments in the world owe $91 trillion. Think of how fucked up that is. That's worth everything in the world. They basically owe the entire world's everything. All assets, everything. They owe all of it. They owe $91 trillion. Governments do. Out of that $91 trillion, the United States owes 34, almost 35 trillion of it. That is correct. We owe about like fucking 30% of the world's fucking debt. Like I said, the dollar, the only reason the dollar is getting crushed, it's getting devalued, and the reason you don't see it is because the dollar is still dominant and everyone else's country is that much shittier right now, and their economies are that much worse off than ours even. But it's like I said, there's so many issues, problems coming down the line for these guys that they're not going to be able to stop this. And it's like, just even this shooting alone just shows me like they're fucking losing control right now. They're losing fucking control.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof.
Oh, shit.
Look.
They're losing control of this entire thing. Like I said, fundamentally for AMC, you're talking profits, GameStop, you obviously have no problems right now. You guys are sitting on billions of dollars, no debt. He has plenty of time to figure out whatever the fuck he wants to figure out with the company. It's a the two memes that we've been in forever, the two big memes, your positions, I know it doesn't seem like it, but like company-wise, fundamentally, everything from where you were years ago, the price not right reflected right this second, but where you were from now compared to years ago, fundamentally on both of these companies is above and beyond what we need to be at. So again, guys, like I said, for AMC 2025, the rest of this year, you're talking profits, no longer cash burn. 2026, you're talking about AMC could break an easy, like I said, you're talking $13 billion plus box office. You're talking about pre-pandemic levels. And they're not done announcing movies yet. So, again, guys, we're feeling really good in this play. It's definitely a patience play, but it's now not just a squeeze play. You're finally in a recovery play as well, which helps with the squeeze play. Like I said, Little Billy is nothing but smiles here. We're going to start making enough profit. Stop burning hundreds of millions, which, like I said, everyone hates all these people for it, but it's like if you're not making enough profit, you have to dilute. You can't run out of your cash reserves. You cannot, or you will go down. So, again, guys, thank you guys for listening. I got to get going. I do have my appointment here very, very soon, so hope everybody has a good day, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. Thank you. Have a good day.